Microsoft Excel 2003, Collaboration, Sharing Your Workbooks. In this video, we're going to start the first of two videos that kind of go together. The first one we're going to focus on in collaboration is how we share. We're going to be like in kindergarten. We're sharing everything. Everyone's going to be happy. But how do we make sure that the changes that I make either get approved or they don't get approved? Or maybe someone else has better information. So that's what collaboration. In the second video that we'll see after this, we're going to look on how we protect our worksheets. In this video, we're going to concentrate primarily in the world of collaboration on sharing our workbooks. Now that means that we're going to take a look at how we access a shared workbook. Maybe there's a workbook out there that we want to access, as well as other people at the same time, and we'll see what happens when you have more than one person adding information to your Excel workbook. Then we're going to talk about tracking the changes. Let's say that I turn around and share a workbook that I have on my machine so that someone else can come in and work on it at the same time. How do I track the changes that are occurring during that access? So the first thing that we're going to do is I am going to access a shared workbook on somebody else's computer. Now I went ahead and opened up the franchise sales for the week, and I have two other people working on it right now. We've got Debbie W. and we've got Clark Van Gilder working on this same shared spreadsheet. And now this deals with collaboration, right? And so if we have three different people working on this, I can almost guarantee that we're going to probably, if we're not careful, step on each other. We can see that Debbie has changed cell A9. We see that Clark has changed cell A10, and then Debbie's added some material. So let me go ahead and type in some information here for Maricopa for the sales of coffee, cappuccinos, and we'll just say for week 1 here in Maricopa, we had 236, because we're better than Phoenix, 255, 312, 124, and we'll just say 698 espressos. Now, I'm going to go ahead and then say I want to auto sum those for the total. So I have that, and then so I've made changes right now. Obviously, notice all the rest of the things go. Now what happens is, if I come up here and I click Save, watch. The first thing it's going to do is going to go check out, and it's going to say, uh-oh, you need to resolve these conflicts. Right now, the first thing we see is it says that in Maricopa, I changed the cell from blank to 236. However, Clark over there, he changed it from blank to 223, done on, and it says the exact time that he did it when he came in. Now I can say accept all of mine, accept all others, or I can choose one individual as I go through. So this will accept all differences in opinion, we might say, while this will go one by one. I'll say, you know what, 236, that's correct. I'll accept mine. I'm going to accept Clark's. I'll accept Clark's. I'll accept mine. And then I'll accept mine. So now when I go do that, it's going to say this workbook has been updated with changes saved by other users. So obviously Clark has made his changes and saved, and notice what has happened. Whatever he put in has now updated. And so if I say OK, I now have different numbers that are now set in place. Also look, all of a sudden they blanked out over here the grand totals and the totals. So if I want to go back in here and add a total, I can do that now as well. So we can obviously see as things change, I'm going to be updated based upon what they're doing, as well as on their screen, they're going to see the changes that I've made and then decide whether they want to accept them or change them. So in this way, we can collaborate but yet not step on each other's toes. I can also add comments that will be seen by other people. Remember the comments, this time it'll say Chris Ward. I'll say Clark needs to fill in the Scottsdale coffee sales. Okay, so for our franchise sales of the week. So I say, okay, that's good. It now has the comment there, and now that's placed. So now when I hit save, again, I'm going to see if there's any other changes made. Well, looks like everybody's been calm right now and hasn't made any different changes. But now if I went over to Clark's computer or to Debbie's computer, they would see this note saying Chris Ward says Clark needs to fill in the Scottsdale coffee sales. So we can now exchange tips and tricks on what we're doing here as we're participating in making these changes. So let's say I want to create another file that other people can share, because obviously right now I'm over on somebody else's computer that I have set up to show you how I can get to that. Now I'm going to go ahead and create my coffee sales worksheet, my workbook. And in here I've got a couple of worksheets, my January, my February, March, and Q1 totals. And in this case, I'm going to say I want to share this out so that way people can use it. Now I can share this workbook by merely clicking on Share Workbook. And it's going to say, okay, how do you want to do this? Right now, I'm the only one. I'm exclusive. I'm going to go ahead and allow changes by more than one user at a time. It also tells me I can do workbook merging, and then I click on the advanced. Now here's where I can either track the changes by keeping the change history for 30 days, don't keep a change history. I can do any updates for changes whenever the file is saved. I like doing automatically every 15 minutes. You can take this all the way down to 5 minutes. I want to save my changes and then see anybody else's changes as well. And if there's conflicting changes between users, please ask me which changes when. So that way I can do that. Now I can also include any of the print settings for me and filter settings. I can view these the way I want to see them. Now if I take these off, I will then see whatever is set up on this one. Or actually, I'm on this one. I would see this, but if someone else is viewing it, do they want to be able to see the print settings that they have and the filter settings, or do they want to see the ones that I have? So I click OK, and it says this action will now save the workbook. Do you want to continue? I say OK, and so it is now, notice the title bar has now changed, and it says coffee sales. It's now shared. It's now shared. Now with this, obviously, I might want to add some protection here. So I want to protect the shared workbook. So I click on this. Now the first thing that you're going to notice, it says I'm going to protect this workbook for sharing with the tracking of the changes. And all this means is, do I want to prevent the change history from being removed? So I click OK. So once I've done that, you'll notice with my tools, with my track changes, I can highlight changes, I can accept or reject changes based upon things that are made. So I can do all these things that I want to do. So in this case, I've taken control of mine, and now I want to enable it for other people to actually access this. So in the background, I have some people trying to access this particular file. So now that I've opened this up for somebody to actually start typing in, let's see if anyone has decided to join us. So I come up to Tools, I click on the Share Workbook, and it still shows me my settings on everything else. Now when I click on Editing, look at this. We can see that Clark and Debbie have logged on and started using this just a few minutes after I started. So now I could, if I wanted to, and I say, ooh, you know what, guys, I need to work on this by myself, I would remove the user. So in this case, if I wanted to, I can click Remove User, and she says, all right, or the thing says, if the user selected is editing, you now won't be able to let that person save that workbook, and they'll lose all that information, which again, you want to make double sure that you're doing that. Click OK. In this case, we'll just hit cancel, allow them to go ahead and work. So we hit OK. I decided I want to start typing in some information, so we say 123, 456, and notice it's highlighting my changes here, 598, and then Super Roast 145. Now the reason why this is happening and it's doing the highlighting changes is because also you can come here to the track changes and select the highlight changes. When you do this, it can say, all right, when do you want to highlight which changes? When, since I last saved. I can also have it where it's by everyone right now, everyone but me, and then just me. I'm going to say everyone but me. So that way, it's not just the things that are changing. I obviously know what I'm changing, but maybe I want to know what everyone else is changing. I can even select on different areas, and I can even list the changes on a new sheet if I want to. So I have a lot of options at my fingertips depending on how I want to highlight these changes. And then I can either accept or reject those changes made to this particular sheet. So when I click on that, now I've made the changes that I have. And let's say I want to come over here and add some more to the 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm obviously using some really great numbers here, 159, 753. So I've added these changes. So I decide to go ahead and click Save. Now what's going to happen is if there are any changes that have been made, I'll be able to see these. But in this case, these are the only ones I have. But now if anyone else is out there watching what I'm doing, they're going to start seeing these changes appear on their computer. So as we continue on, let me go ahead and add just a little bit more information here, and I'll put some more numbers in. Got big sales going on here, and let's see if anyone else on the other end has made any changes at this point. And I can do this on any one of the pages in the worksheet, and it will show. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and click Save. And at this point, it says, uh-oh, look at this. I changed cell E5 from blank to 1456. Clark says, nope, 178. Do I accept mine? Now, we've seen these before. So I go ahead and let's accept all of the other people's changes. Now look at what happened. It's been updated with all the changes saved by other users. I click OK, and check this out. It says, all right, he changed the cell from blank to 0, and he left a note. We ran out on this day. Not sure why the shipment was missed or why we didn't notice. And also, Clark had also placed all of these changes, and I accepted all of his over mine. So again, we are collaborating, we're sharing, but there are little places that we're going to say, whoa, stop. Are you sure you want to do this? And if I own this worksheet and it's on my computer, I can then make certain changes. You can also, if you want, place these files out on file shares. If you have a big server and you have a whole bunch of files, if you place them out, and that way if you have multiple people working on teams, or maybe multiple locations in the case of coffee sales or whatever you're doing, the franchise sales updates, whatever you're doing, when you do this, you can protect as well as make sure that the collaboration is what you want it to be. All right, this video was a little bit of a group effort, wasn't it? Because we went out and accessed a shared workbook, and we saw as we made changes to it, and then we tried to save, and we had to say, oh, wait, I said this, and the other person said this, and it could have even said that even somebody else said this, and which one do you want to accept? And that way we make sure that we don't step on anybody's toes. And if we do see a whole bunch of that in the real world, we would probably get on the phone with that other person or email them saying, hey, what's going on? Is this going on? You know, is this the right information, or what are we doing here? Then we even saw that how do we track those changes? Do we do it where anytime I make a change, it kind of shows up, or do I only track other people's changes? How do I share out a file that maybe I've created? I showed you how to do that, to share that workbook that you're working on. Now, in the next video in the series, we're going to take a look at how I won't just share the workbook out. People can still maybe access the file, but how do I protect my workbooks? That's in the next video in the series. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.